This is recognized. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to say from the onset, Ms. DeLauro, I support your legislation. We do not have to see these agencies go without the operating funds that you all need if we pass your bill, which I support. I would like to plead with my colleagues. Our country is in a state of crisis, and it is because of the massive amounts of money for the Department of Homeland Security authorized in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it's also because of the rampant corruption and incompetence at the White House and within the Department of Homeland Security. My colleagues on this side of the aisle have documented what's happening in communities all over the country. I'd like to share with all of you and with my colleagues what's happening in El Paso. El Paso is home, unfortunately, to the largest immigration detention facility in the country, Camp East, Montana, with up to 5,000 beds. There is mass corruption and fraud occurring there. And I'd like to highlight a couple of those examples. The federal government is paying $1.24 billion to Acquisitions Logistics, a private company that is being paid to care for up to 5,000 human beings. They are being paid by the federal government to wash clothing 3 times a week. I can tell you that's not happening. In fact, when I was there a couple of weeks ago, women who had been apprehended in Minnesota and had been held at Camp East, Montana for 3 weeks were in the same clothing they were arrested in Minnesota. 3 weeks, same clothes. You can imagine what 3 weeks of wearing the same clothing is like. They are, the private corporation is supposed to provide adequate food to the detainees. I've seen the food that is served to them and it's frozen. And so all of that gets tossed as waste. They are not getting the medicine and the medical care that the private corporation is being paid to provide. As I have elevated these issues, not just locally on site, I've elevated them to Mr. Lyons and Ms. Nome, neither of whom are here before us. And when they were before our committee in December, Mr. Lyons made big promises that he would answer all my questions. To date, he has not. He promised to give me and the chairman and the ranking member a copy of this contract with this private contractor. This was in December. We still have not received this. I showed up yesterday to the authorizing committee's hearing, asked to be waived on. I was not allowed. I basically had to corner him and tell him about the fraud happening on his watch. And my question to DHS is, if you don't care about the human beings in custody at Camp East, Montana, will you at least care about the massive fraud? This corporation is making $1.24 billion. Every time I've gone, I've witnessed the detainees basically having had to wash their own clothes with the little packet of shampoo that they get. And when I was there on Friday, their clothes are hung out to dry, yet we are paying the corporation to wash clothes 3 times a week. Are we getting a refund? Are we not being charged for this? $1.24 billion of taxpayer money, all from the One Big Beautiful Bill. This corporation needs to be investigated. Camp East, Montana needs to be shut down. And by the way, the announcement has been that DHS is now buying warehouses to warehouse human beings. They've purchased 3 warehouses in my district for $122 million that they will now have to spend probably hundreds of millions of dollars on in order to retrofit to house 8,000 human beings. They can't even handle the 3,000 in private custody right now. So DHS is absolutely out of control. We can fund all of the other agencies, isolate what's happening at ICE and CBP, but colleagues, I am pleading with you for help. If the administration does not care about its humanitarian responsibilities, I am pleading with you to care about the fraud that is happening as a result of what's going on at Camp East, Montana with Acquisitions Logistics, and stop this massive expansion of facilities housing human beings without oversight. One last thing, I am now being blocked from providing oversight. The staff inside of Camp East, Montana confiscated privacy release forms that family members were trying to get detainees to sign. And I've been told I can no longer speak to detainees unless I give ample notice. My staff is not being allowed inside anymore. We sued and won, and I'm still getting obstructed. I'm asking for your help. I yield back.
You were much better than the other people who went over, so thank you very